California wildfires. They're a natural disaster that we're all familiar with. I remember being 6 or 7 years old, looking outside, seeing ashes falling in a deepened gray orange sky. I'm sure this is a memory that you can all relate to. Unfortunately, wildfires have only gotten worse due to inadequate solutions. I'm here today to argue that California needs to implement more comprehensive solutions, including establishment of effective monitoring systems. Two, more localized fire prevention and response resources. And three, establishing stronger land management practices. First, in my speech, I'll be going through some of the problems associated with wildfires. Then I'll be going through some of the causes, my solutions, and then finally, my conclusions. So first, some of the problems associated with wildfires. One is that, as mentioned before, it's getting worse and is going to continue to get worse. According to the scientific reports on April 22nd, 2021, more small fires, which are 500 acres or less, have been plaguing the United States in the last 2 decades and occurring at a higher frequency. Furthermore, wildfire season has grown in its time period and starts earlier in the year, as opposed to starting in August and now starts in July. According to The Independent on June 1st, 2021, some of the worst wildfires to hit California took place in 2017 and 2018, devastating over 3 million acres and costing 130 lives. As mentioned earlier, it is also predicted that wildfires will get worse. In a report from the federal government, as reported by the Christian Century on December 19th, 2018, scientists predict that natural disasters will continue to hurt the United States as climate change continues to have more consequences in terms of our weather conditions. And specifically, they predict that the Southwest will be hit by more wildfires. So another problem associated with wildfires is income disparities. According to the U.S. News The Civic report on November 22nd, 2019, people who have higher incomes are now allowed to sort of get off the grid during power outages and have their own power source. They're allowed to have fireproof structures built around their property and hire their own private firefighters to protect their property. It's unfortunate because people who are lower income do not have access to the same specialized treatment or extra protection that higher income families do. So it's important that we treat this issue as a community issue and make sure we address the most vulnerable. So some of the causes of wildfires, or these issues associated with wildfires. One is that politicians often look for quick solutions, and it leads to the lack of proper legislation. For example, SB 474 was passed, and this prevents people in high-risk areas from building new structures and new buildings, and did not give them adequate resources to address fires or to address fire prevention. On the other hand, as reported by the University of the Pacific Law Review on April 1st, 2021, SB 739 passed, and SB 739 did not pass. My apologies. And this legislation would have allowed state legislators to recognize, one, that local entities are often more capable of addressing fires and local fire issues, and providing them with more resources like fire prevention training. Again, this failed, and just goes to show that people in power and legislators are looking for quick solutions. Another cause is the lack of proper distribution of resources that already exist. The Department of Forestry and Fire Protection is already an agency that is designed to address and prevent wildfires. But as the Independent June 1st, 2021 notes, they've been largely ineffective, and they even gave them a California Golden Fleece Award, a dishonor given to California state or local agencies or governments that swindle taxpayer money or break the public's trust. In this case, they failed to adequately warn people about wildfires that were coming or are about to take place. Some solutions that I have to this issue. So one is establishing effective monitoring systems, and that includes adopting new early warning systems, camera networks, drones, satellites, and artificial intelligence in order to enable households to assess emerging risks in real time. Another piece of technology called the Cat Boost algorithm, as mentioned by the Mathematical Problems in Engineering on July 20th, 2021, which takes multiple factors into consideration, vegetation factors, meteorological factors, human factors, terrain factors, and land surface temperature to assess risks. In combination, both of these systems could work really well to help households assess overall risk and real-time risk. Secondly, there needs to be more localized fire prevention and response resources. It's important that we pass more legislation like SB 739, which, as the University of Pacific Law Review mentioned, recognizes that state legislators may be unable to accommodate to local needs. It's important that we provide more funding to fire prevention training on a local scale and funding to local entities to address financial, social, and health-related stresses that follow natural disasters. Finally, it's important that we have stronger land management practices. Previously, controlled fires were something that took place very frequently. CAL FIRE used to burn 30,000 to 65,000 acres a year. But now, partially because of lack of funding as well as lack of proper training, CAL FIRE has burned fewer than 10,000 acres a year, which has been inadequate to slow down the ongoing buildup of fuel, as stated by the California Agriculture on January 1st, 2019. In conclusion, although climate change is getting worse, wildfires are something that we have control over if we apply the right prevention tools. It's important that we talk to our state legislators and local leaders to ensure that we have proper fire prevention and proper fire response training. Thank you so much for your time.